Welcome to Global Trends. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. For decades, German cars like Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Volkswagen have been icons on American roads, symbols of quality, performance, and luxury. Their sleek designs and advanced engineering have long captured the imagination of American drivers, who see these vehicles as more than just transportation. They're a statement of style and aspiration. Whether cruising down highways or parked in suburban driveways, German cars have become woven into the fabric of American life. The Volkswagen Beetle, with its quirky charm and unmistakable silhouette, won the hearts of a generation, becoming a cultural icon in its own right. Meanwhile, German executive sedans, sleek, powerful, and refined, quickly became the vehicles of choice for business leaders and professionals, cementing their place as staples in corporate America. These cars weren't just admired for their looks, they were trusted for their reliability and engineering excellence. This widespread success was no accident. German automakers invested heavily in understanding the unique preferences of American consumers, from the types of vehicles they wanted to the features they valued most. They built extensive dealership networks across the country, trained local mechanics, and even adapted their cars, tweaking everything from cup holders to suspension, to better suit American roads and lifestyles. But German automakers didn't stop there. They went further, opening major factories in Tennessee and South Carolina, bringing production closer to their American customers. These state-of-the-art facilities created thousands of well-paying jobs, revitalized local economies, and demonstrated a deep commitment to the U.S. market. The presence of these factories signaled that German brands were here to stay. The Made in America label on a German car became a powerful symbol of global partnership and collaboration. It represented the blending of German precision with American ingenuity, and showed how two cultures could come together to create something truly special. German brands set new benchmarks for quality and innovation, raising the bar for the entire industry. Their relentless pursuit of excellence pushed U.S. automakers to step up their game, leading to better cars and more choices for American consumers. The competition sparked by German engineering helped drive progress and shaped the modern automotive landscape. But as the years went by, this seemingly unbreakable bond between German automakers and American drivers was about to face its toughest test yet, a challenge that would shake the industry to its core. In early 2025, President Trump shocked the world by slapping a sweeping 25% tariff on all imported cars and auto parts, a move that sent shockwaves through the global economy and left both allies and rivals scrambling to respond. The announcement came with little warning, catching automakers, foreign governments, and even some U.S. officials off guard. Framed as a bold effort to protect American jobs and revive domestic manufacturing, the tariffs upended decades of carefully negotiated trade agreements. The auto industry, which had grown accustomed to a world of open markets and predictable rules, was suddenly thrown into turmoil. Automakers faced immediate questions about how to adapt, and workers worried about what the future would hold. The modern auto supply chain is a marvel of globalization. Parts and components cross borders multiple times before a finished car rolls off the assembly line. From steel in Canada to electronics in Japan, every vehicle is the product of international cooperation and efficiency. Suddenly, every imported part and vehicle became much more expensive, creating chaos for automakers who rely on just-in-time delivery. Delays and cost overruns rippled through the system, forcing companies to reconsider their entire approach to production and logistics. The administration offered piecemeal deals to some allies, negotiating exemptions and special terms for a select few. But Germany, home to some of the world's most iconic car brands, got no such break. The message was clear: no one was immune from the new rules. For German automakers, the full force of the tariffs threatened their entire U.S. business model. Companies like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Volkswagen had invested billions in American factories, employing thousands of U.S. workers. Now, their future in the world's second-largest car market was in jeopardy. The unpredictability of new rules made long-term planning nearly impossible. Executives scrambled to revise forecasts, rework supply contracts, and reassure anxious investors. The uncertainty rippled out to suppliers, dealerships, and workers across the globe. Even American companies who source parts globally felt the sting. The tariffs didn't just hit foreign brands, they raised costs for everyone, threatening to drive up prices for consumers and squeeze profits for U.S. manufacturers. The industry, built on stability and open markets, was now facing a storm of uncertainty. Stock prices tumbled, investment plans were put on hold, and the future of the global auto sector looked more fragile than ever. German brands, once fixtures in the US and symbols of luxury and engineering, suddenly found themselves on shaky ground. Dealerships struggled to move inventory, and some even considered closing their doors. The era of easy access to the American market was over. A new chapter had begun, one defined by uncertainty, disruption, and a fundamental rethinking of how cars are built and sold in a world where protectionism is back in the driver's seat. The tariffs hit German automakers hard and fast, sending shockwaves through the industry almost overnight. For decades, German carmakers like Mercedes, Volkswagen, and Audi had built their reputations on precision engineering and luxury, dominating the American market with their iconic vehicles. But now, the rules of the game had changed, and the impact was immediate and severe. Luxury brands like Mercedes and Porsche saw their cars become tens of thousands of dollars more expensive overnight. Showrooms that once buzzed with excitement now faced sticker shock as customers balked at the new prices. Suddenly, the dream of owning a German luxury car was slipping out of reach for many Americans. Companies faced a brutal choice: raise prices and risk losing loyal customers, or absorb the costs and watch profits vanish. Executives agonized over spreadsheets, searching for a way out, but every option came with painful consequences. Mercedes scrapped its earnings forecasts, Porsche slashed revenue projections. The financial outlook for these storied brands darkened by the day. Investors grew nervous and the pressure mounted from all sides. Volkswagen, already facing challenges, braced for its worst year in a decade. The company was forced to consider layoffs and production cuts as uncertainty gripped the entire organization. Even US-built German cars weren't safe. Many key parts still came from Europe and were now subject to tariffs. The intricate global supply chains that once gave German automakers an edge now became a liability, driving up costs at every step. The very investments in American factories that once seemed wise now looked risky and costly. Plants that had been symbols of international cooperation and growth suddenly faced an uncertain future. The build where you sell strategy was suddenly under threat. What had been a cornerstone of German automakers' global expansion now seemed like a gamble that might not pay off. German automakers were trapped, penalized for importing, penalized for building locally. No matter which path they chose, the costs kept rising and the options kept shrinking. The future of their American operations was in doubt. Dealerships struggled to stay afloat and employees worried about their jobs as sales plummeted. The tariffs forced a painful reevaluation of their entire US strategy. Every assumption was questioned, every plan put under the microscope, as executives searched for a way to survive in this new reality. The stability that once defined German brands in America was gone, replaced by uncertainty and anxiety about what the future would hold for these automotive giants. By mid-2025, German automakers began scaling back in the US, cutting models, shrinking operations, and reducing their presence, and even considering a full exit from the market. What was once a cornerstone market had become a source of risk and instability. Thousands of American jobs at factories, suppliers, and dealerships were suddenly at risk of disappearing. Communities built around German auto plants faced an uncertain future ahead. The retreat of these brands sent shockwaves through the industry. For some, leaving the US was now a real, if painful, option to consider. The American dream for German automakers was fading fast and slipping away. The tariffs didn't just hurt foreign brands, they hit American automakers too. Ford and GM rely on global supply chains. Their costs soared as imported parts became pricier. Ford warned that tariffs could slash its earnings by over $1 billion. US companies faced the same dilemma: raise prices or eat the losses. Investment slowed, jobs were threatened, and the entire industry braced for stagnation. Higher prices meant fewer car sales, leading to layoffs and delayed projects. The policy meant to protect American jobs was now putting them at risk. The auto industry, foreign and domestic, was caught in a downward spiral. As the West fought trade wars, China's automakers surged ahead. Brands like BYD and Geely, once dismissed, became global leaders in electric vehicles. BYD overtook Tesla as the world's top EV seller, expanding rapidly into new markets. Chinese firms controlled the battery supply chain, building affordable, high-quality cars at scale. As German and American brands retreated, China filled the vacuum in Asia, Latin America, and Europe. The US market remained tough to crack, but the global balance of power was shifting. The trade war had inadvertently strengthened China's hand in the auto industry. German automakers are now rethinking everything. diversifying production, reducing reliance on any one market, and hedging against political risk. Some may double down on US manufacturing to dodge tariffs, while others pivot to Asia's booming markets. Audi is even considering its first US plant, but the costs are daunting. The focus is shifting to where growth is strongest, Asia, not America. For US consumers, this means fewer choices and higher prices. For workers, it means uncertainty as jobs move or disappear. The global auto industry is being reshaped before our eyes. The car you drive tomorrow may come from a very different world.